This is Gemara Menachos Daf Kuf Vav, and we're holding on Kuf Hayam and Beis. We're about 10 lines from the bottom. The first word in line is Mishnei Lugin, Psiyata Deshmaya, closing in. Baruch Hashem on this incredible Masechta, and in reality, it's a dual Simcha because Vachim and Menachos really are all one and the same. It's one large Miksaya, and therefore the Siyam of Menachos is really a dual Siyam. We pick it up 10 lines to the bottom. Mishnei Lugin says the Gemara. So we have this carbon mincha. This carbon mincha b'tinai. This conditional mincha. Says the Gemara. So mikmazechi kamitz. How do you perform the kamitza on a conditional mincha? What exactly do you do? Demasni v'amar. So we think it's false. That demasni, you make it tinai v'amar. Ichaus lechudayu, urikikin lechudayu. If the neder is that I have to bring chalois by itself and rikikin by itself, Amri, then I am saying the kamitzna mechalois lavi achalois ko kamitzna merikikin lahavi rikikin. Then the kamitza on the chalois should be for the chalois. And that which I'm taking from the rikikin should be from the rikikin. But now, and machzer rikikin or machzi chalois, got to get through all the permutations. And let's say it's half and half. Then says the Gemara, machzer rikikin, machzi chalois, amri. Then he's saying that what? To go kaminsu mechalois. Then he's saying that I'm separating from the chalois, lavia mechzer chalois mechzer rikikin. The kaminsu rikikin, lavia mechzer rikikin or mechzer chalois. And thereby, he's almost covering all his grounds. But what's the kasha? V'abai mikvas chad, koimet mechalois. How does this work? If he has a neder or nedava, that's not the nekuda right now. For both chalois and rikikin, then he has to separate one koimetz from both. Mechalois, as we turn over to Kavav Amud Aleph. Umerikikin. And what's the problem? The kokamitz mechalos arikikin or rikikin achalois. And each one is sufficing for the other. So this mechzi umechzi, this saying that it should be half and half, that should ostensibly, asks the Gemara, now work. So how could this tenai of chalos and rikikin come to fruition? Says the Gemara, I'll explain you. The Shamina le Rav Shimon. Rav Shimon is the one that holds. Tamar, ikamatvala biyadei mechad al shneim yatsa. Gemara that we learned back in Daf Samach Gimel, that if you do kamitza on a mechzer chalois or mechzer rikikin, and he came up in his hand for one time for both, only chalois or only rikikin, Dr. Rav Shimon, he's yaitze, and that's the way it's going to work by us. Says the Gemara. Okay, so we know that every mincha we have three components. We have two, which is three. We have the flour. And then we have the shemen. We also have the levina. But says the Gemara, okay, so you explain to me how you're going to do the kemitza, how the flour is going to work. But frak the Gemara, vayika meiser shemen. Says the Gemara, what about the remainder of the oil? Di mechzer chalois, o mechzer rikikin. If it was half and half, meiser hashemen, machzir lechalois. The excess is for chalois. Equal rikikin, amar meiser hashemen echoloi koyanim. So as follows. If it's going to be half and half, the excess is going to be chalois. If it's going to be kulei rikikin, it should go to the kayanim. So what does he do with the oil? Lemaisa, is it going to the kayanim, or is it going to remain with the rikikin? Says the Gemara, I'll tell you. So the first half we said we're going with Rav Shimon. Now we're going with Rav Shimon ben Yehuda. Titania Rav Shimon ben Yehuda Imer Misham Rabbi Shimon Ma'ishchan Kimin Chi. I'm sure this was a fan favorite. Can't forget this one. The Ma'ishchan, you smear the carbon mincha, you smear the rikik in the shape of a chi, that Greek letter, which is like similar to like a test type of letter. And therefore, according to Rav Shimon ben Yehuda, you're going to be able to still bring this carbon, and we have what to do with the shemen. So says the Gemara, so that's Lefi the Mishnah. In this case of the Tanai, you're going to satisfy it by doing a double kemitza, well, not double with the Tanai, and you're going to satisfy it the shemen is going to be placed and as well given to the Kehanim. So we're going with Rav Shimon and Rav Shimon Berevi Yehuda. Now says the Gemara, Amar Le Rav Kahana the Rav Ashi. More of a Yisaitistic Shayla back on the Mishnah. Vayika l'safuka b'minchas nisachim. But we should also say that he might have to bring a minchas nisachim. That in the Mishnah that said that the way to satisfy his neder is by bringing chamesh, 5 menachos, says the Gemara, but wait, what about the minchas nisachim? One can bring a minchas nisachim every day. Says the Gemara, Kika misavkale. What mincha are you asking? Now the Gemara throws in a siman, and the Gemara explains. Ba biglal yachid. Ba biglal sibur lo misavkale. We're not misopik whether the minchas for a yachid. Excuse me. We're misopik whether this mincha is coming bishvil yachid or bishvil tzibur. That's one way of learning. And therefore, the minchas nesachim is going to be brought as a carbon tzibur, and therefore that's not a suffix. Kika misavkale, you know what our shayla is? Ba biglal atzmoi. When someone's bringing it for himself, ba biglal zevach loy misavkale. But a mincha that comes as a carbon is not a suffix. Meaning the Gemara is explaining what is the suffix of Rav Kahana that he asked Rav Ashi. A third way, and we're going to have 5 different ways of explaining what the suffix is. A third way is Kika misavkale tuna levaina sheina tuna levaina. Excuse me, tuna levaina. Sheina tuna levaina loy misavkale. Number 4, Kika misavkale ba'abulug. Ba'abish leishalugin. Loy misavkale if it's 3. Kika misavkale tuna kemitza. Sheina tuna kemitza loy misavkale. So 5 different ways of explaining the shayla of the Gemara. We should really, before we go weiter, let's just see one Rashi over here. Kika misavkale leneder me minchas yachid she'inay ba b'tzibur tahainu hanich chamish menachos hanedava. We're about 10 or 12 lines into the narrow lines in Rashi. These chamish minchas nedava deina bois b'tzibur, they don't bring b'tzibur k'dam leil. Ein shnayim is not b'misar nechad shariksiv b'nefesh. Because that the minchas nisachim devada yada shaloi nadra, and that's how the Gemara is answering the kasha. There's 5 different ways of potentially learning. There's 5 different ways of potentially learning the Mishnah. Now we go back to the Mishnah. Pirashti said the Mishnah. The next case. Pirashti mincha shel Esrainim. I specified a mincha of Esrainim, but I don't know how many Esrainim. So what did the Mishnah paskin? The Mishnah paskins that he brings 60 Yisarain. Says Rabbi, no, you don't bring 60, but rather you bring all the permutations from 1 to 60. Tanarabanan. Pirashti mincha v'kavati b'kli echad shel Esrainim. Someone says, I specified a mincha, and I established that should be brought in a single kli of Esrainim. Ve'ini yodeya ma pirashti. Says the Braisi, yavi mincha shel shishim Esrainim, you bring 60, devrei chachamim. Rabbi Yomer, yavi mincha shel Esrainim, me'echad va'ad shishim, which is, the Braisa does a little bit of math for those who need. Shein elef u'shmoine Me'os ushleishim. 1,830. So 1 to 60 ends up with 1,830 Esrainim, and this is similar, the popular raffles out there. You buy a ticket from 1 to 360, so you got to add 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. So now we know it's 1 to 60 adds up to 1,830. Case number 1 in the Brisa, which that case really mimicked Kimat, the din of their Mishnah, just threw in that it's a B'kli Echad, which we'll see if that makes a nafkamina or not. Continues the Gemara, 4 lines on the wide lines. Pirashti, he says, I explicated, I explained. I don't remember. I don't remember which of the 5 menachos I specified, and I don't remember how many Yisraelim. He's not sure about 2 things. So what does he do? Says the Brayis, you have to bring all 5 types of menachos, and each one needs 60 Yisraelim, says the Tanakama, she'ein shalosh meos, 5 times 60 is 300 divrei chacham. Rabbi Omer, yavi chamish menachos shel, shishim Yisraelim yachvad shishim, from 1 to 60, which is what? So we just saw a moment ago that it's 18 and 1830, 1,830. And if you take 1,830, says Rabbi, and you multiply it by 5, what are you going to get? 9,150. Shein tishem alafim umeya v'chamishim. So 2 cases in the Brisa. Says the Gemara, Micah Mifli. What is the machlokes Chachamim and Rabbi? Amar Rav Chisda b'meiser lahachnes chulin la'azara kamifligi b'moter lahachnes chulin la'azara kamifligi. Are you able to bring chulin la'azara? That is the machlokes. Rabbi said also lachnes chulin la'azara, but Nizavi moter lachnes chulin la'azara. That's going to be the machlokes. According to Rabbi, it's no big deal. Excuse me. According to the Chachamim, it's no big deal. So just bring 60. According to Rabbi, you're not able. That's one way of learning. Before we go weiter, we see Rashi. Rashi over here, a little lengthy. Rashi explains a little bit higher. Naman Rabbanan Savri, Mutar Lachlis Chun Lazar. Hilk. So what's the therefore? What's the equals button? Zak Rashi. Hilkach Yavi Shishim Yisrael B'Kli Echad. V'yasna, and you make it tonight. They're all for my obligation. And then it's very simple. You can't mix chayv and adava, and that's what you do according to the Rabbanan. We're going to skip the end of Rashi and go a little bit further in Rashi. And Rashi continues, according to Rabbi, you can't do that because then it's going to result in chul nazara. So rather, what do? You bring 60 from 1 to 60 b'shishim kilim and 60 kilim v'yomer. So you satisfy that the rest can be nadava because they're not all one kli, and that's according to Rabbi how it's going to work. Teretz number 1 of the Gemara. 4th white line back to the Gemara. Rav Amar, second teretz kuli yamas lachnes chul nazar. That's not a machlokes. Hacha b'muter la'arev chayva b'nadav kamifliki, as you can anticipate. That the first teretz held everyone agreed you can't mix them, and they were just arguing about bringing chul nazar. In the second teretz, everyone is agreeing you're not allowed to bring chul nazar. Sheli's allowed to mix them. Rabbanan savi muter la'arev chayva b'nadav. Therefore, it's no big deal. You bring all 60 in one kli, and the fact that they're being mixed, no problem. And you make the Tanai, and therefore the excess is not going to be chul nazara. But Rabbi Savar chayva b'nadava, and therefore if they're going to be mixed, it's going to end up being chul nazara. So the only way to do it is in separate kelim 1 through 60. Amr le Abaye le Rava, frekta Abaye le Rava, le Rabbanan Dami motel arev chayva b'nadava, habinan shnei kimatzim. What do you do with the kimitza? Says the Gemara in Achanami, the comments of the comment, you have to take a kimitza, and then again, vocal comes with chayva b'nadava chayva. You don't know which kimitza is for which. Says Rava, I'll tell you, titali le b'das kayin. He says that it's dependent on the das of the kayin. Damer, he says, Kolech adamati adli koyin. Hashta chayva ubesoif is going to be nidava. Says the Gemara, but wait, we have another kasha 3 lines to the bottom. Akturecha miktar. How can you burn these kmitza? Liktar nadava bereisha, burn the nadava first. Then how can you burn the second one? Doma kula chayvi. Maybe the first one already fulfilled your chiyuv. V'chasalu shirayim. And then what's happening is the remainder are going to be lacking. That what's happening is maybe everything was l'chayva, and therefore as soon as you take the first kemitza, the rest is considered the shirayim, and therefore there's nothing more to be done. If the shirayim are lacking, being kemitza la'aktara, ein mikdar koimetz aleim, then you're not allowed to bring the kemitza on them. And if you're going to tell me fakir, liktar chayva bereish, you should burn the chayva portion first. Then how can you subsequently burn the part that might be the nidava? So the Gemara wants to know that how are you going to come along and bring both parts of this kemitza on the mizbeach? And we turn over to Kavav Mebeis. Says the Gemara, a third part of the question, that vidoma, and perhaps says the Gemara, kula chayvi v'chol she'u mimenu li'ishim harehu bebal taktiru, and therefore it's all supposed to be burnt. So says the Gemara, what are you going to do with the kemitza? Amar Rav Yehuda Bereder of Shimon Pazi, 3 lines down, Kavav and Beis, Demasik lo l'sham eitzim, that he burns the kemitza l'sham eitzim. Let's remember, avada, there's the burning of the kemitza, and then you also could burn some l'sham eitzim, meaning to keep the fire on the mizbeach going. So answers the Gemara, you know you do. You burn it l'sham eitzim, therefore you don't have to worry about what the kemitza is. Ukar Eliezer, this works according to Rabbi Eliezer. The Tani Rabbi Eliezer, Aimer l'reach nichayach iyata ma'ila. For stam reach nichayach, you're not allowed to bring it up. But what are you allowed to do if you have this excess? You bring it up for the purpose of the eitzim. So lamaisa, the Gemara is answering that all these 60 Yisarn are going to be in one Kli, and according to Rabbi Lefi, Rabbi Eliezer, you're going to bring the Kemitza, and either it's going to be the Kemitza or it's going to be L'Sham Eitzim. Amar Le Ravacha Brei de Rabbi Ravashi V'domo the Kuli Alma Mutal Arif Chayvin Adaba, third terts. Maybe everyone agrees you could mix them. And so what's the machlokes? Maybe they're arguing Gufa about this last point. Maybe that's a machlokes. Says Rav Ashi, Amar Lei, Rabbi Mutar La'ariv Chayva Min Adava, Rav Eliezer Leslei, Efshe Nemaisi Shita V'chan Mana, V'chan Mana, Umagalahu, and they could touch V'kamitz, and he can bring the kemitza. But Rabbi does not say to do this. Rabbi says to bring 60 different kalim, to bring 1,830 sarain. And therefore, it must be that the reason for Rabbi is that he holds that you're not allowed to mix the chayva and the nidava, and therefore the suggestion that we just made does not hold water. Rava Amar, a third pshat, Kuli Alma Mutal Arif Chayva Min Nidava. Oh, the Kuli Alma is lo Rabbi Eliezer. So what's the machlokes Rabbi the Chachamim? V'acha beblooked Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov v'Rabbanan kamifligi. Titinan, we learned in the Mishnah afilu mincha shel samach yisaroin noisin la samach la wawog. You put in it 60 log. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov aimer afilu mincha shel shishim yisaroin ein la ela luka. As you learned in the Mishnah, machlokes whether you need a log per isarain or whether it's always one log shemer the mincha v'log shemen. So Rabbanan Savi Kirabbanan Damri Samach log v'chol chad v'chad isaran luka kashakel. Each one needs its own log. Rabbi Sav Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov Damri in la ela luka. You only bring one log. V'lo yadina, we don't know. Ichada mincha idisagila v'chal log. Ishtei menachos dinu devina shnei lugin, and we're not sure, and we're mesopik. And therefore, you have to add in both of the lugin. Says the Gemara, it's a third way of learning the machlekes Rabbi and the Chachamim. Gemara suggests now a fourth way. About 10 lines from the Mishnah. Rav Ashi Amar bekotan vehavi gadol kamivli the machlekes is. So wanted to bring a small mincha, and he ended up bringing a large mincha. That's the machlekes. Rabbanan Savri Katan Vevi Gadol Yatza. Rabbi Savri Lo Yatza. I've afilu bachada zimna. But we already argued Raflika bachada zimna. That's not Katan Vevi Gadol Yatza. Rabbi Yom Lo Yatza. Srich we need both kids. The it's Marba in our case Bakam Rabbanim Mishom. Tai dividi kamet to Aval Hasam the Kanafishi Murin. Imamad the Rabbi the Chamar Maskim to Rabbi. We it's Marba over there. Become Rabbi Aval Imamad the Rabbanon. Sricha, so we need both cases. And we begin the next Mishnah. What do we do if someone says, Arei alai eitzim, open-ended? Says the Mishnah, alai yifchaz kiazanabila mishnei gezirim, 2 logs. Levaina, open-ended, I'll bring levaina, alai yifchaz mi kaimetz, at least bring a kaimetz. Chamisha kamatzim, says the Mishnah, there's 5 types of kamitza, oimer alai levaina, number 1. Then, lo yivchais mi kaimetz aminade mincha. Number 2, one who donates a mincha, yavima, kaimetz levaina. Number 3, amalas the kaimetz bachot, you mean the kaimetz outside chayiv, shnei bezich chayiv, shnei bezich, and now case 4 and 5 is shnei bezich and tu'unim, that's case number 4, and shnei kematzim, case number 5. Those are the 5 cases of kemitza. Continues the Mishnah. Harei alai zav. If someone says, I'm going to bring gold to the Beis HaMikdash, 3 lines on the white lines. Lo yevchaz mi dinar zav. If he says kesef, I'm going to bring to the Beis HaMikdash. Yevchaz mi dinar kesef. Nechayshaz yevchaz mi meya kesef. Pirashi v'nei dema pirashi yavi mevi yehi mevi ad shemer loy lekach niskavanti. He has to bring enough until he can say, for sure, I didn't mean this much. You don't know how much you meant, but you know for sure this is enough. That's when he can stop bringing, and we'll pick it up from the Gemara B'siyata Dishmaya.